Blimey. I have to wait 10 minutes before I can talk. Hello, how are you all? I can't believe you're all here. I thought there were like 5 people here. Have you come for the wrong... It's me. You've got the right person, everybody? Grant Kirkhope, you know? I have to wait for, 10 minutes. I'll just sit here and just, watch. I suppose I could start 10 minutes early. Who cares, eh? So, my name's Grant Kirkhope, and I don't deserve that applause, I'm afraid. I'm a composer, and I really honestly haven't prepared anything to say at all. I thought I'd hope that you're going to ask questions, because I go to these panels like you and sit in the audience, and I want to say, you know that bit in bar 4 where you used a C sharp instead of a C natural, why did you do that? I want to ask that stupid question, so I'm hoping you've got lots of stupid questions to ask me. But I will pontificate, if you like. I think that sometimes people like me just sort of drone on about how great they are, and that's a bit dull. And I'm not very exciting. So has anybody got a question? You've got a question.
Yes. So whenever I write music and people ask me like the creative process of it, I can't really go past I pick the key signature and a time signature in Sibelius and just mess around. Whereas other musicians will throw music theory terminology left and right. Is there any essential music theory knowledge to have when composing, or does it really just depend on the composer themselves?
Right, I don't think so. I don't do that. I don't talk about theory at all. I just talk about, I don't do any talking really. I just kind of mess around like you do until I think it sounds good. And honestly, I've never been that kind of intellectual musician person. I'm just not clever enough, honestly. Like when I was did my music degree, I failed the harmony exam 3 times out of 4. And I only scraped by in the last year by the skin of my teeth, or I would have failed completely. So I'm not very intellectual like that. So obviously I do know what it sounds like, I think. And I think as a composer, I'm sure a lot of you guys here are composers, I think the most important thing you can have is your ears. Like if you can hear it, you can probably write it. Honestly, I'm not that clever. So I just muck around until it sounds all right, and then that's as good as it gets. All right. Anybody else? Sir?
What game did you have the most fun
So I guess you should repeat the question. So what game did I have the most fun composing for? I've had quite a lot of fun over the years, even though I'm very miserable all the time. So probably, I don't know, Banjo-Kazooie was really fun. Because at this point I should probably say Uminaka. But it's all right today. Because that was like my first game to myself, right? So I'd done GoldenEye and I'd done DK2 conversion from the Super NES to the Game Boy. I'd done that. But Banjo-Kazooie was my first game of my own. So that was really exciting. And the team was a good laugh. And we had a really good laugh making it, and I think that shows in the game. I think all that humor was just us lot mucking about like we did, shouting down the corridor at people, to calling each other names. It just was that put into a game, really, with a character in it. So, yeah, Banjo-Kazooie was really fun. But I've had lots of other fun doing other stuff. It's probably not fair, but yeah. Sir?
What kind is the Yooka-Laylee music going to be like Banjo-Kazooie, or is it going to be different?
How's Yooka-Laylee going to be? It's going to be, hopefully, a mixture of all that stuff, right? So I want to chuck in plenty of good old tritone umpar, like I've done for the last 20 years. My entire career is based on tritone umpar, unfortunately. Apart from occasional digression. So I'm going to try to make it, I am making it. So it's got those bits in it that you'll recognize. That got some of the chord sequences from Banjo-Kazooie, some of that kind of feel that you recognize from it. But I'm hoping now that I'm a slightly better composer than I was back in '95. Obviously I can't promise that, but I'm hoping that I'm slightly better. So it's going to be a mixture of all that stuff. I'm going to try and get it all in there. I'm only really on the second level at the moment. I've done the first level, right? And I'm on the second level. I've done the main theme and I've done 2 variations. It's all going to change like Banjo-Kazooie did, So far it seems to be all right, but who knows? A good thing about Playtonic is that it's all the old gang from Rare that I worked with in Banjo-Kazooie, but there's a guy there called Andy Robinson who was the editor at CVG in the UK. And he was, I met him at GDC when we became friends, and he eventually ended up working at Playtonic as their kind of community, and he's a writer too. He writes some of the dialogue for Yooka-Laylee. And he's great because I think for me it could be easy to be an autopilot and just kind of write the same old shit that I wrote for Banjo-Kazooie, you know. But he's good at saying, hang on, I think you can do better than that. So he pushes me a little bit. So I think it's good to have that. Because I think I could easily just cruise it and it not be great. I want to make this game really great because I'm assuming that people are really going to give me marks out of 10 for this one. So it needs to be as good as I can make it. So I'm trying my hardest. I guess so. Have you ever touched any middleware? I don't know if you lot know what that is. That's like when you work on games as an audio person, you usually have some bit of software that sits in between you and the game that you put all the audio into to make it work. So yeah, I've used Fmod, but not Wise. I used Fmod when I did Kingdoms of Amalur. But then since I've been a freelancer, I don't touch it anymore, which is great. I just write the music and go, you fix it. So that's quite good. I quite like doing that. Because it's going to be hard. You, sir? Well, you know, not a lot to tell, really. It was just something that sort of worked. The sound engine on the N64 at Rare. So that was, it was a massive bodge, right? It just kind of worked, and it was continually messed around with by different programmers. Like the reverb that we got right at the start was that Super Mario 64 kind of bathroom reverb, and that was the only preset there was. And then to change the reverb, you had a big list of numbers, like coefficients. Like, I'm not very clever about things like that. And it was all that kind of stuff, and no one knew how it worked. So me and Graham Norgate just sat there and just changed numbers, just guessed until it sounded a bit better. And that's why in the early games the reverb's distorted, because we couldn't make it not distort. But we just thought, bollocks to it. We just think it sounds all right. Just leave it. And it got fixed later. We got a clever programmer who fixed it later on. But like at the start of the N64, no one had time to mess with the audio. It kind of worked, and that was it. So I don't know much about that, I'm afraid. That's the easy answer to that one. This is going to be really hard. You, sir? Oh, Christ. Right. How's the rap coming along for Yooka-Laylee? Well, as you all know, I'm a very good rapper, obviously. I know lots about rap music. I listen to it all the time. That's all I listen to all the time, just rap, nothing else. So I think badly is the best word to describe that. I actually haven't started it yet. I've got that bit, Yooka-Laylee. And it's going to go... That's probably about it so far. I really sort of think that they stitched me up there because that wasn't a plan at the start. And then it just appeared in the Kickstarter overnight. No one asked me about it. I wasn't asked at all. I was like, shit, are you joking? I'm terrible at rap. Like the DK rap is not great, right? And, I don't know. I really honestly don't know what I'm going to do. So I talked to my mate, Danny Baranowski. He's a bit more finger on the pulse than I am. And he's got another mate, what's his name? Oh, God, I forgot his name. Who does rap stuff. So I might try and do maybe a collaboration where I write something shit and then they make it a bit better, like that. So that's probably the plan at the moment, but we'll see how it goes. I don't know. I really honestly don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I think the team want to rap on it. I mean, you know how it's going to sound right before you even hear it. It's going to be pretty crap. But I'm hoping that's going to be the selling point, that it's just so bad it's funny. A bit like the DK rap. Which of course is a masterpiece. Yes, that's all I'll say about that, I think, so far. Oh, God. Anybody else? This chap here with his... Yeah, yes, you, sir.
I have absolute pitch, so I noticed what keys things are in.
Oh, God.
Was it a conscious decision to write basically the entire Banjo-Kazooie soundtrack in C major and C minor, or did it just happen?
Yeah, it's a very technical reason for doing that. The reason is I'm a really, really shit piano player. So, that's the truth. So, I'm a guitar player, right? So I've never really played piano. So when I got to Rare, it was like, oh, you have to write on the keyboard, right? So So C major's got no black notes. And that is the entire reason why it's all in C major. And I still write in C major a lot these days. I keep thinking, oh, for God's sake, Grant, you should try D major. Because I could probably manage it now, a little bit. I'm still a really bad keyboard player. Yeah, well, yes, I could try A minor. That's the truth, yeah. So yeah, that's the technical reason I'm a shit piano player. Oh God, you madam. So is it hard to work with Playtonic? Apart from the fact they're all wankers. No, it's all right. I was behind, so yeah, I get to miss out on all the Mickey taking, that piss taking, joking around that we used to do back in the day. So I miss out on that because they're all gone to bed. Well, not in bed, but they're all gone home. So I miss that. But no, it's all right, really. It's still nothing's changed. It's almost like Banjo-Kazooie was yesterday and Yooka-Laylee's today. That 18 years hasn't elapsed at all. We're just all a bit older with wives and kids and mortgages now and all that. That's the difference. But we're all still as daft as we ever were, and it's the same old nickname started on day one. It just hasn't changed at all. It's exactly the same as it was. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but yeah, it hasn't changed at all, I'm afraid. You, sir.
So how is it working with David Wise on this? Are you collaborating or just do your own things or what?
Yes, I'm working with Dave Wise on Yooka-Laylee. So it looks like, well, it's going to be just separate pieces, I think. Like, I've never actually worked with anybody on a music collaborated apart from Danny Bonoski. When I did that Desktop Dungeons with him, we actually worked on each other's pieces. But I've never done that before. We've always just been separate. Even on, like, Civilization we just do our separate stuff. And also, I think that me and Dave have got a very different writing style. I don't think you could blend together very well. So there's bits in the game that are obviously Dave, and good for him, and bits that are obviously good for me, allegedly. So it's going to be like that. Yeah, I've only heard, what have I heard of Dave so far? That new piece he just did, which I think is great. Dave's so good at that style. He's just fantastic at it. And we're good mates, me and Dave. I mean, like, we started off at Rare, a bit rocky, we didn't get on so well. But by the end of it, we were playing in a pub rock band together. Like, I was a singer, he was the guitar player, and we did, like, crap pub rock covers in pubs, very badly. I mean, me singing is not great, right? So how we did that, I don't know. But yeah, so Dave's a good lad. But yeah, it'll be separate. Yes. Okay. I can't get you. I can't have two. I'm sorry. I have to get somebody else. I'll come back to you in a minute. You, sir.
What was your favorite song from Cityville 2?
Oh, Cityville 2. That was great. Actually, at the time, right, that kind of saved my life a little bit because Big Huge Game's just gone bust. And I was like, oh, I'm in Baltimore and I've got no money. Shit, how am I going to pay the bills? And all my friends worked at Zynga East at the point in Baltimore. So they said, come and write our game. And we'll pay you lots of money. Not lots, but enough. So I quite liked doing it in the end, I have to say. It was quite good fun. And it got to go to live orchestra again, up in Seattle. So, but I can't remember the pieces really. I can't remember my favourite. I'm sure there's one in there somewhere. I just can't think what it is. Anybody else? You, sir.
Would you be able to talk about how your track on the Big Bad Bosses album came about?
Yes, so how I did my exciting rap on the Big Bad Bosses thing. That was a twerk pope, of course. Still not quite sure what a twerk pope is. Has anybody heard that thing that did with the Big Bad Bosses thing? Anybody? Oh, right. Quite surprised. So I met Gerard Khalil, the completionist, at Con Bravo in Canada last year. And he's a great guy, and I got on with him really friendly, and we had a good laugh. And we got back to LA, he said to me, I'm doing something with Jake. Do you want to rap? And I was like, that's a great joke, really funny, I'm a really great rapper. So no, I'm serious, would you go rap on a track? And I was like, I'm crap at it. Like, how many times I've got to say I'm crap at rapping? I'm a British person. We don't rap in Britain, very badly anyway. So I went and did it, and it was a good laugh. Like Jake just said to me, in fact, all I did was Jake just said, say it like this, say it like this, say it like this. I did it line by line and just did what he told me. Jake's a genius, right? So that it sounds good because of him, not because of me. So it was good fun to do. I did it for a couple of hours, well, maybe less than that, maybe an hour. It was a good laugh and all that. But my wife said to me, look, Grant, when you did the game Grumps, right, you swore on for an entire hour, you just cursed for the entire hour, like with bad language. Just, you've got to stop doing that. You're a father now, my son's 13, his friends have started to find the Game Grumps episode, and it's Mr. Kirkhope, and they kind of play it. It's like, the parents, oh my God, he's swearing, turn it off, So I learned my lesson. Well, I thought I learned my lesson. there thinking, learning that, the internet's forever, and it's there forever, and everyone's going to find it. Like, I've had like some quite staunchly religious parents of my son's friends find the Game Grumps thing and go, Mr. Kirkhope's so foul-mouthed, disgraceful, and they won't speak to me ever again. So my wife said to me, look, Grant, just, go and do it, but just don't swear, right? And then, of course, it was like, I'm fucking Grant Kirkhope, and that's like... So there you go. So I said, look, and so Jake said to me, look, we'll probably bleep out the swearing. He said, don't worry, it'll be all right. I thought, oh, it'll be okay. Of course, he said, actually, we think it's great without it. We're going to leave it in. I was like, you bastard, you told me you're going to leave it. So obviously there is an edited version that bleeps out the swearing, but no one listens to that one. Yes, so that was good fun to do, but obviously I swore again, and like my wife's getting pissed off with me for doing it. So, yes, for the hat in the air, Hattie Hatster. Okay, so basically, like, how do I get around writer's block? I don't really have writer's block. It's not because I'm good at all. It's just that I think I spent 12 years at Rare as a staff composer, and then 4 years at Big Huge Games as a staff composer, right? So that's like quite a long time. Is that right? No, yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it is, yeah. What I got used to going to work in the morning, 9 till 5. So you just get there at 9 and you start work, right? Like if you're a guy that digs a road, you start digging at 9, right? I started writing music at 9 in the morning. So I did that for such a long time. It was a great habit to get into. So I just kind of forced myself to get on with it. And I'm very workmanlike like that. And what I write might be shit, granted, but that's the way I kind of do it. I always remember trying to remind myself that every song you've ever heard in the world ever is on that piano keyboard somewhere, right? It's in there somewhere. You just got to find it. So you just got to get on with it. Load up a French horn and play a C, in my case a C, of course, every time. And then think of, but then play the next note and play the next note. It is possible, right? Put on your favorite piece of music and listen to that. I might put on Hellbent for Leather by Judas Priest. And I'll have a good headbang to it, and then I'll get cracking, So I think, be inspired by something. Play some music that you really like. It will get you going. I think that I'm not the kind of guy that sits in a darkened room and waits for the hand of the Lord to hand me a song. It's not like that. I don't do that, wait for the inspiration. I'm workmanlike, I get on with it. And I know it's easy to say, and you might write something crap, but then you can, maybe you might write something better later. So I'd say you've got to get on with it, right? That's my best advice. I think the writer's block thing can happen. I do get it now and then, but I think you really just have to get on with it. Make yourself do something. I don't know, whatever that happens to be for you. Fine. I know it's a bit bland, but, I listen to Harry Potter, probably. I listen to Harry Potter, the John Williams soundtrack, the first 3. I listen to those for every day, right? For hundreds of years. I've done that all the time. I listen to that probably nothing else, exclusively that. I'm really funny. I'm really OCD. I listen to the same thing over and over and over again. That's me. But that's what you have to do. Best advice I can say. Get on with it. Right? You, sir. Right. What's good classes at university to take video game composing? I'd probably say none. Right. That's probably a bit rotten to say. But I did a music degree 4 years, right? I learned nothing. Nothing, right? The biggest takeaway I got from university was that my harmony teacher was really clever, and I couldn't understand him, and so I failed it, right, 3 times. I was crap at it. The biggest thing that you do that I learned was the college orchestra used to rehearse every Tuesday and Thursday morning. And I never missed a rehearsal. I sat in those rehearsals for 4 years, every Tuesday and Thursday morning. And I listened to them play Stravinsky's Firebird and Bartok Concerto for Orchestra and tons of stuff like that, right? And that was my best training ever. Listening to that stuff, going to the library, listening to music. And I do listen to the same thing over and over again, so I was listening to Vaughan Williams' Fifth Symphony a million times. But I think it's fantastic, and I learned tons from it, right? And I still think that, I know tons of great composers who can't read music, but can write great music because they've got a great ear. Robin Beanland at Rare didn't qualify in music, and he writes great music. You know, he can read it, he plays trumpet, but I never sit and look at the actual notes. I look at the piano roll thing in Pro Tools, right? But I don't look at the notes unless I'm going to the orchestra thing at the end of it, and even then I might just glance at it. You know, so I really don't know about that. Sometimes for me, you get people at university teaching these courses. I have to wonder, where did they come from? They didn't come from the games industry. Like, how many people working in games are sat teaching in universities? People that I know good at games are doing games, right? They're not teaching in university. So that's probably a bit nasty. But I don't know, really. If you've got a great teacher, maybe. But for video game, or any kind of composing, like, it's either in you or it's not, probably. It's like, you know, you can give me a set of tools to fix the car and I just break it, right? Because I'm crap at being a mechanic. So I could give you the tools to compose, but if you haven't got it in your head, you're not going to do it, right? So I think sometimes, like, I know that composing is my one talent, if you can call it that, in life. I have no other talent. My wife thinks I'm completely useless at everything else. If she teaches, says, can you just fix that shelf? I'll just break the entire thing and I'll stamp on it and, you know, hit the kid with the hammer and all the rest of it, you know. So that's just what I'm like. I have one ability. So if I can't make money at this, I'm going to be a tramp. That's it. So, yeah, that's my long answer to that. All right? Right over there with the glove on. Glovey. Right, I've asked, so which track would I change if I could go back in time to change it? And honestly, I wouldn't change any of them because I'm really bad at polishing, right? Like, usually my first, I'm so bad at it. Like, my first idea is probably, that's it. And if it's crap, it's just crap. I'm not great at going back over, and I don't like doing it, and I find it really dull. So, honestly, I don't think I'd change anything. There's one thing in GoldenEye, and I always forget that it's the bit where you go into the forest and you meet on a top, whatever it's called. And I remember, you know, me and Graham Norgate were really new to it all back then. And I remember we triggered the ambiences from MIDI files, right? So we'd have a sound effect, we'd put in like maybe a 5-second loop that sat in the N64, and then we'd get a note for the MIDI file, we'd trigger it to play it. So I made that jungle ambience for that bit. It's just one long note that lasts for, like, I don't know, hundreds of bars. That triggers that. It's just one note that keeps the ambience going, right? So the MIDI note information triggers the ambience, because if you pause the game and re-unpause it, there's no MIDI on note again, so it just stops. So, like, you get this kind of, it's completely silent. So it goes from being this really busy forest full of birds to, like, hang on, everything's just died, you know. And that's in the game, and we were like, oh shit. So then we started triggering ambiences every bar, or, you know, quickly. So if you did pause it, you'd get another MIDI on note pretty quick. But it just goes to absolute silence, and I don't know if no one's ever noticed it. I don't know, but, like, it sounds pretty crap. So I wish I could have changed that. Yes. All right, sir, moustache, Mr. Person. Won't have to be, I'm afraid. Pick your best one. So anything I regret not working on? You know, my favorite game of all time, right, is Link to the Past on the SNES, Zelda, right? Like, you know, I loved that game. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I thought the music was equally fantastic, and I'd love to work on a Zelda game like that. I would have liked to have done that. But I've got to say that those themes are so great, I could never equal that. They're so brilliant. You know, but I would have liked to it'd be good fun to do it. But I couldn't do better than him. He did such a fantastic job. But that game is phenomenal. I remember playing that one Christmas, just like, I played it over and over again. It was so brilliant. So maybe that. All right. You, sir.
So Donkey Kong 64 is one of my favorite games of all time.
All right.
I was wondering what song on that soundtrack you like the most?
Which is my favorite Donkey Kong 64 track? Apart from the DK rap, of course, you know. All together. No. I'd probably say Crystal Caves. I like that one a lot. Someone likes it. Thank you very much. Yeah, I like that one best of all. It's my favourite. I just thought it was different to the rest of them. I like Frantic Factory too, probably. Is that right? Yeah, but I do like Crystal Caves best. Yeah, I think that one. Yeah. Let me see. Somebody, Mr. Hat at the back. Yes.
If there
So what inspired me to become a composer? I never had the inspiration to be a composer ever, right? That's how it worked. It was a really massive fluke that I ended up being a composer. I played in metal bands all the way through school and stuff. That's how, I wanted to be a metal guitar, but that was it. I wanted to be in Judas Priest or Queensryche. That's what the people I wanted to be in. That was all I wanted to do. And I played in tons of covers bands as well, and played in pubs. Like, you know, I left university at 22, and I spent the next 11 years trying to be a rock star and failed miserably, obviously. And I played in loads of bands. That's all I ever did, right? I was on unemployment benefit most of the time and off going on a tour, then back on unemployment benefit. And that was like, all my friends did that. So we all did that. And then ironically, I ended up playing with a guy called Robin Beanland, who's at Rare. He was a keyboard player in one of the bands, local bands that I played for. And one day he up and said, I've got a job, I'm going to go work. And I was like, what? Like, no one I knew got a job, right? Everyone just went on unemployment and played in bands and just kept it quiet. I said, what? He said, yeah, I'm going to get paid 12 grand a year. I said, what, £12,000? It was like, shit, that's a ton of money, you know. Like it was then to me anyway. So off he went to work at Rare. And a year and a half went by. And he said to me, look, Grant, you've been on unemployment like long enough. Don't you think you should probably get a job? And I was like, well, like what? He said, well, why don't you try to do what I'm doing? I never thought about being a composer once, ever. I wrote songs for the metal bands I was in, but I never thought about composing ever. So he said, look, you know, have a go. So I bought a copy of Cubase and an Atari ST with a meg of RAM and a Pro Tools Effects synth rack mount module. And I spent a year writing tunes that I thought were appropriate for video games. And I played a lot of games at the time. And I sent 5 cassette tapes in those days to Rare over the course of that year and never got a reply. And then out the blue, I got a letter saying, please come for an interview. Could you bring with you a fighting game piece, because they were doing Killer Instinct at the time, a kind of Batman, Danny Elfman sounding piece, and a platform piece. So I wrote those quickly. Went for the interview, and Dave Wise interviewed me with Salmon Farmer, who was the general manager at Rare, and I got the job. And that was it. I was as bizarre as that. And I was like, shit, I've got a job. I have to go move away out of my mother's house. I've been there for like 33 years. She was like, what, you're going to leave? I said, leave it, mother. I can't believe it, you know. And off I went, and that was it. And it was as fluky as that. Never once in my life did I think I could compose. I'm still not convinced I can do it now, really. And I mean that. Every day I kind of go, God, I'm shit, why do I bother doing it? I'm crap, you know, every day. I'm so miserable, it's unbelievable. My wife hates me. So, yeah, that's the truth. So, right over there, Mr. You glasses person, yes. No, that one. I'm sorry, we'll do yours. Oh, that's not fair, is it? I have to do both of you now. Go on, go for it. Yes, go on. You there.
So, like, doing the music for, like, Banjo-Kazooie, you know, like, also at that time, pretty soon, Yooka-Laylee. From all of those games that you did, how did you try to make sure that your music didn't sound the same from other stages that were in those games?
So how did I try and make sure the music sound different in all those games? Well, honestly, I don't think I tried. I just did what I could, right? I'm not that clever like that. Like, I just had a go and hoped that people liked it. You know, sometimes people think, oh, Grant's got this great signature sound from Banjo-Kazooie. He was so thinking about that and putting it all together. It was just such a piece of fluke that I did it. Like, you know, I just thought, the only thing I thought about was, I don't want it to be like Mario, because Mario was really poppy, jazzy, and I thought that's great for that style. Plus, I can't write it. I couldn't do that in a million years because Nintendo are great at it. I wanted to try and make Banjo a bit different to that, and that was probably as far as I went in my thinking. And I stumbled upon that tritone thing by pure accident, like, honestly. And, like, it's been used a million times before me. Everyone thinks I invented it. I didn't. Like, it's been used a billion times, but I'm just a copyist, right? I just copy everybody else. And that's as far as it got. And try to keep Yooka-Laylee and Banjo different, and A Hat in Time, that isn't so different. I'm just trying my best. As I say, when you hear it, you might think it's nonsense. I'm sure it probably half of it is. So yeah, there's no thought on it. I think about it a little bit, but I don't know if you went to Austin Wintry's Q&A. Austin is such a clever guy, right? And he's so superly intellectual, and he can talk so intellectually about music, and I feel like an amoeba when I talk to him. Like, just like this. Oh my God, he's so clever, you know. And I really like him, he's a great guy. And I just think, why can't I be a bit more clever like that, you know? But I'm not, I'm sorry, so. I've got to ask this chap at the end here. You, sir. From which game? I got the MIDI files. I don't think I've got any, I might have the tracks actually somewhere on a DAT somewhere maybe. They're not great. You don't want to hear them. Let me think. But actually, tell a lie. Actually, the Batman track that I had to write, the Danny Elfman style track, that turned into what's the spooky level in DK64 called? Creepy, not something castle. Creepy Castle. Yeah, that ended up the intro part of that before it goes to the Addams Family bit with the that's from that original demo. Thing is, right, I try to reuse stuff if I can, because I just think I'm not going to write it again. So if I can reuse it, I will. So a lot of the stuff in Dream ended up in Viva Pinata or other stuff. So, you know. Yes, sir, over there.
You're working on Civilization Beyond Earth. How exactly was that experience? Because that's to me it's very different from what you worked on before, and of course it's a collaboration with Firaxis. So how was that?
So working on Civ, that was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed that a lot. Those two games were brilliant fun to do. So I knew Will Miller, who's the lead designer on Civ, was at Big Q's Games for a little while doing Kingdoms of Amalur. So we were friends. I think he liked what I did in Amalur. So he said to me, look, you know, we need someone to help out with Civ. Do you want to do it? I said, you're joking, great. So it was, you know, they were great to work for because, like, they just said to me, can you write some epic, hopeful music? And I was like, shit, I can, you know. I really like, I thought that as a composer, I don't think you can hear better words, apart from the Oscars yours, I don't know, maybe. So that was phenomenal to work with them, and it was great fun to do, and I'm hoping to work with them again in the future. So that was really super fun to do, really liked it. Yes, sir. No, sorry, behind you. I can't have you again. You can't. No, yes, you. Yes, sorry.
When you've worked on and written music for a variety of games, do you often find that the content or like levels or environments they present you with influences the music, the other way around, maybe a little bit of both? Like, I'm just curious about how all of that kind of happens.
Yeah, how it works in games, right? So usually is they'll give you a picture or they'll describe the level to you or something like that. You know, something like that. Like the only time I think the music came first was on, you know, the Banjo-Kazooie intro where it goes, all that. I wrote that first and then I did the animation to it. So usually it always happens like you'll get it first because they want to make sure you write what they want, right? So, you know, but I think any composer worth the salt, if someone says to you, you know, it's going to be a frozen ice castle, you know, I'm going to start thinking pizzicato strings and Celeste and glockenspiel and spiky things, you know, like, you know, I'm thinking that so it's in my head before I even start to write the music. Oh, it's a nice sunny forest. I think about, you know, bassoons and warm woodwinds and, you know, that's how my brain does it. And I think most composers are the same, really. So I think that often people give you really elaborate, like, here's a video of the level and here's some screenshots. And you just kind of go, look, mate, just tell me about what is it? You know, is it a desert? Is it a desert? I'm on, you know. So, yeah, so something like that, usually. Let's go this side. Mr. Hat.
Were there any specific tracks that gave you trouble? Like you saw the picture, like, oh, I have to do this, and then for some maybe there were a lot of conflicting ideas or something, but it was kind of slow.
So, right, so Doug, has anybody given me, like, trouble writing stuff or the level, the descriptions are bad? Or is that the general question? Something like that? I've only really had a couple of bad experiences with people giving me kind of some kind of idea. Usually the worst person to work for is the guy that goes, look, we love your work. Can you write some music for us? We don't know what we want, but we know it when we hear it. And you kind of go, oh, so I could be here for the next 6,000 years writing this piece of music? Like, as a composer, you hear that, you're just going to go, oh, this is going to be terrible. It's going to be a pain in the ass. So it's only happened to me a couple of times, really. Most of the time, people are reasonably accurate. But I always try to say, look, at the start, say, look, just give me a description and find me a YouTube clip or something that you think's in the right direction, right? So, and then I can get an idea about what they're thinking about. At least puts you in the ballpark, right? So I think it's easier then. But when people just kind of go, you know, write something, we'll tell you what it's like. Like that happened actually when I did Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z, which is an amazing game, of course. That was like that. Yeah, write something, you know, it'll be great. I was like, oh, fuck, you know, what am I going to write? You know. So that was like that. But yes. God, there's tons of people. Mr. Sir here at the end.
Speaking on Donkey Kong Land 2, I think everyone's in love with Sticker Brush Symphony, but the 8-bit version of that is some of like the most ambient, beautiful chiptune I've ever heard. I was wondering, limitations of like an 8-bit Game Boy sound?
So Sticky Brush Symphony from Donkey Kong Country 2, when I did it on the Game Boy, people seem to like it. And I really find that a bit odd, right? Because that's just Dave Wise's tune. Dave Wise's brilliance made that tune. I just did my best to try and make it sound good as an 8-bit thing. And like, when I first started on the Game Boy, like, I honestly shit myself completely. I got to Rare the first day, and Dave sort of marched in and said, right then, this is how you do the Game Boy. And it was off. And I was like, shit, it was all in hex. There was no MIDI file, and I was like, dang it, there's just like numbers on this. It's like black and white numbers on a screen. What's that got to do with music? Yeah, the first two numbers are the note, the second note, the length, all that. I was like, Jesus Christ, I can't do this. So I went to see Robbie and said, Robbie, look, I'm going to have to quit. I said, I really honestly can't do it. I'm not clever enough. He said, look, get Dave back tomorrow and get him to show you again. Slow it down and write it down every step. I said, look, Mr. Wise, can you come back and show me that Game Boy thing again? Because it's just beyond me. So he came back and he sat down and it's kind of wrote. I said, like, step 1, Alt 1 or whatever it was. Step 2, note. And I wrote it down a long list. And I slowly got better at it. I actually quite enjoyed doing the Game Boy in the end. It was good fun. And it was kind of funny to see what you could squeeze out of it. But Sticky Brush Symphony, honestly, there was no thought in it. I just converted Dave Wise's brilliance to the Game Boy's best and tried to do as best I could. And if people like it, that's great. But it's his brilliance, not mine. Oh, God, I have somebody far away. You right at the other side, sir. You, yes, you. Right, so because I've played in bands for such a long time, I've thought about playing my stuff live. And I have thought about that, actually. I just haven't got around to it. Me and Danny Bernarski keep saying we're going to go and do some gigs somewhere sometime together. We haven't got around to it. Like, I'd like to do it, but I know it's a bit lame, but I haven't got the time right now. I really haven't. I'm doing 4 games at the moment. I wish I could tell you what they all are, but I can't. Arse. Would anybody come and see me? I don't know. Probably not. Who wants to see an old fart like me and playing guitar? Probably fat for you guys, obviously. When I had my long hair, it was quite nice. Things you got short hair, you can't headbang, right? It's crap headbanging with short hair. It's no fun in headbanging anymore. It's just a waste of time. I always thought that maybe Tommy Tallarico might play one of my pieces at some point, but he never has, and he never seems to want to. He must just not like me, I don't know. No, Tommy's a good guy, but, I just keep thinking one day Tommy will play something from mine, but he hasn't. I got asked to go. There's a thing in Mexico, isn't there, every year where they do a big games thing and they play live, and me and Danny did agree to do it, and then Danny got ill and we couldn't go. And that was, we never actually arranged anything. We just kind of said we'd do it and thought about it and never got there. But I don't know, if I thought someone would come to see me and I had the time to do it, I'd probably ever go, but I don't know what it'd be like. I always think, in my mind's eye, right, I always think it'd be funny to walk onto the DK rap and everyone do it. And I hand out lyric sheets and everyone's, I thought that'd be great fun. That's as far as I've got. So the gig would be over at that point. You'd just go off and that'd be over. So maybe, I don't know, I'm getting old now, so I probably won't make it. Have a heart attack or something. So there, all right. Yes, sir, there. No. Sorry, yes. Did See Hat in Time have any do well on Kickstarter, Infamous Playtonic? Not really. The Hat in Time thing was a little bit weird, and I only ended up writing 2 pieces for them. I was supposed to write a bit more than that, so I won't say any more about that. So I like the pieces that I wrote for them, and I kind of did a Back to the Future thing. That's what's in my mind. I wrote those 2 pieces, but I've had no contact with them since that point. Yooka-Laylee Kickstarter thing, that was like, it was ball-breakingly fantastic. And not for 1 second did we ever think we'd raise that amount of money. And I'm not part of the company, right? I chose to still be, I'm a freelance guy, I have to be freelance, right? So they wanted me to be an employee, but I couldn't do it. And me and Gav, the lead guy, talked about it before they kind of got on with it. And I really thought that $270,000 that we asked for would probably take us a couple of weeks to get it. It was 40 minutes to get that amount of money. I mean, seeing that counter go around, it went live and I clicked refresh and it was already went, like that. And I was like, it's broken, right? Something's up with it. I was like, you know, shit, the one time we do something, it fucking breaks. You know, and then it was like, my God, we all just started shitting ourselves. So they were in bed, I think, because it was like 8 hours ahead right there. I was like I was there for the live opening thing or whatever. And I mean, it was just incredible, like $1 million in a day. Like, at that point, you start to shit yourself. You start to go, we've really got to make something good now. You know, everybody wants to see it. But, you know, joking aside, like, that was so heartwarming. Like, it was the most incredible sensation, because I really felt that people wanted another game like Banjo-Kazooie. I really felt, because being on Twitter, people bug me all the time. Not bug me, they keep saying, when are you going to make Banjo-Kazooie 3, you know? And I wish I could have said, right now, but I couldn't, you know, Rare, I wasn't at Rare, they aren't going to do it. Fuck, I don't know who's going to do it, you know? So, like, to get to that point where we really got people that wanted to see it was just the most unbelievable thing in the world. Like, you know, we were all in tears practically. So that was mega heartwarming. So thank you to anybody here who contributed towards Yooka-Laylee. It was tremendous. I'm crying. You still there? So metal bands, yes. I was in lots of metal bands. Like I'm old, of course. So I'm probably a bit older than you. Well, I'm a lot older than you. I'd probably be your father, in fact. So you know, for me, it was like Iron Maiden, Saxon, Judas Priest, Scorpions, Van Halen, Queensryche. You know, AC/DC. Like when I first started playing guitar, the 2 albums that I had was AC/DC High Voltage, the first album, which I think is amazing. I love Bon Scott, right? And Queen, Sheer Heart Attack. They were my 2 first albums that I just played until they wore out, the plastic. Remember Plastic, anybody? So yeah, and I love Brian May's guitar playing, and I learned to play some of his solos. He's an amazing guitar player. For me, someone like, there's tons of great flashy guitar players, right, that can play really fast and really great. But I think people like Brian May, when he plays the guitar, you always know it's him. It just sounds like him, doesn't sound like anybody else. He's special, right? And like Eddie Van Halen, no one sounds like Eddie Van Halen. He just got that way. I was very fortunate to be in a band that we played with Van Halen. We did a 6-week tour with them around Europe. And Eddie was a great guy. He gave me a guitar. I've got Eddie Van Halen's guitar in my house that he gave me. You know, like, and he's a really nice guy. But when you talk to him, he's got a really warm personality. He's a nice, chatty, nice man, right? And you can feel it in his guitar playing's warm. He's got that really warmth to it. I feel it. And I think that the great guitar players like Angus Young, you know it's him, right? You may not like it, but you know it's him. And there's tons of really flashy guitar players that you can't quite put your finger on, but people like that are signature players, and I think that means a lot to me. So I don't write metal much these days. I haven't got the time to write metal much at all. I did put 3 tracks on I've got a YouTube channel that I never bother with, right? It's got like 2 things on it. But there's 3 tracks in there, and I just called them because my company name is Kirkhope, which I thought was quite clever. You know, Kirkhope. You know? For me, that's pretty good. You know, so yes, exactly, yes, I should think so too. So that's my business name, right? I don't really use it. I've got a DBA, so that's me. Anyway, so yeah, I put those 3 Cacophony tracks, it's by a metal band that I played for a while ago. I wrote the songs, they're on my YouTube thing. There's 3 tracks. If you want to go and listen to them, I really like them. You probably think they're shit, but I haven't written metal for a while. I've not had the call to write it. I tell a lie, actually. There's a game called Hex Heroes that I did last year for Mario Castaneda, and he wanted to get some metal guitar on one of the tracks. So I thought it was a bit odd. But I put some on it. So it's not like a fast metal, it's a slow, Sabbathy type thing. So that game's supposed to be out this year, so that's on one of the levels. So yeah, that's all I've ever done really recently. So yeah. Oh my God, it's getting really hard. You madam. Right. Favorite Banjo-Kazooie song? I get asked that a lot, and I find that hard to answer, but probably Mad Monster Mansion. I like that one. Like I wrote that like right at the start. All together. Yeah, that one. And from Banjo-Tooie, I really like Atlantis. I like that one a lot, and that's one of my favorites. So, all right. You, sir.
So you've been in the U.S. for quite some time, so do you still say "said" or?
Yes. The U.S., yes. I like the U.S. a lot, but you know, you do talk funny. So I really won't say Z, and I really won't say tomato. And when I'm at Subway on the counter, I say tomato 55 times until they do it. I will not switch to tomato. They go, what? Tomato, what? Tomato, what? Tomato, what? And I'll just keep going on until they go, all right. You know, I'm not changing that. I've got kids. My son's 13, I think he's still quite British. I think he's still, my daughter's like 10, and she was here, started when she was 2 here. She's getting a bit, LA Valley girl. It's a bit annoying. So if I do hear any kind of, American sayings, I tend to lock them under the stairs, like Harry Potter, until I say you can't come out until you say tomato properly. So yes, and Harry Potter, of course, that Potter. And I don't like it when I go, hey, it's Grant Kirkhope, It's not actually, it's Grant Kirkhope. Anyway, so I try to avoid that stuff. And when I'm on the phone to like Comcast or somebody and they just can't tell what I'm saying, because obviously I speak fast for one, there's Dex. And I speak fast for one, and I speak British as well. Thank you, sir. Dex the Swede. He's a dude. So I'm not switching, I'm afraid. But I must admit, I have found myself saying like in every sentence a lot. And that's really addictive, and I really hate myself for it. And also, I go up at the end of a sentence in pitch. And my wife kind of goes, fucking, well, it's not fucking hell, she does, yeah. She says, what, stop with the pitch at the end, stop it, like, so, also I'm Scottish and all. Right, yeah, eh, So, yes, I'm not speaking American ever, that's all, that's the answer to that one. All right, oh my God, it's hard. You, sir, with a stripy thing on, you, that's, looking around, yes. I do. Oh, like, what, his number? To call him? I can't do that. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I can't do that. He'd hate me, kill me. What time is it there? It's 8 at night there. Norgate. Nozza. Norgate. It's a bit late for them. 8 o'clock at night, they're in bed. Well, nearly. But I can't do that, I'm afraid. I'd like to, but I can't. Oh, God, it's this chap with the long hair there. Oh, so my gear, my equipment? Right. I haven't got a lot of gear. I'm not very techie. Not very clever like that. I'm not clever at a lot of things, really, I have to say. So I use Pro Tools, and that's only because I was kind of I used to use Cubase forever, right, at Rare. And then towards the end of it, Robin decided, he was head of music at that point, wanted to use Pro Tools. I was like, oh, fuck, I don't want to use Pro Tools. Anyway, so I used to record Cubase into Pro Tools. That's as good as it got. So I used, that was nothing very exciting. But slowly, Pro Tools MIDI got better. So after Pro Tools 8, I think, or Pro Tools 9, it was very like Cubase. So I thought, well, fair enough. So I started using it then. And I kind of, pardon me, wish that I didn't use Pro Tools because it's expensive and, you got to pay some money for extra bits. It's a pain in the ass. But I'm stuck with it now, right? Because I'm old and I won't change. So that's my main DAW. I've got my main kind of instrument stuff's like Hollywood brass, strings, and woodwind. I use two-strike percussion. I've got Omnisphere 2, Damage for drums and stuff. I've got lots of other bits and pieces, but that's my main stuff that I use. I usually get asked to write orchestral stuff at the moment, but I am doing something right now that's kind of a hybrid, like synth plus orchestra for a kind of a game that I can't talk about, of course. So that's more combination of synth and orchestra, and so I'll usually, because Danny keeps saying to me, for God's sake, Grant, all your synths sound like they're dated in the bloody 80s, you're crap at synths, aren't you? I said, well, you fuck off, you're crap at orchestra, so, you can't, because for me, I'll just go through Omnisphere's presets, right, and find something I like, and go, that's great, I'm using that, where everybody else will fiddle with it and edit it and make it great, I'll just go, I can't do that, it's too hard, so I'll just find a preset that I like, so I'm bad at that. And I do mess around with massive sometimes, but I'm not good at that either. And I always think to myself, it's really hip about getting the right hip synth noise. And I would say, look, to most people, start playing the game in the bedroom, whatever it is, they could give a shit about what synth noise I use. As long as it sounds all right, they don't care it's not hip or not, right? So I'd sometimes dispute that thing about get the patch and change it so it's great and all that. Well, maybe, but I can't do it. So if it comes out like that, hard luck. That's it. Oh, my God. Mr. Sir here, just because you're local. Yes, you. So, sorry.
So when I make music for a little while now, and I noticed that music that I made a couple years ago sounds drastically different from the music that I make now. I was wondering, with you working on ukulele, if it's harder or easier to sort of be reminded of the same Banjo-Kazooie sort of sound now that you have all these different.
Is it hard, like making ukulele Banjo-Kazooie? Ish. No, not really. Like, thing is, like, I really think that I needed that break after Banjo-Tooie because I think I'd kind of done it to death. I felt that kind of you know thing, and even though I still do it all the time, but you know, so I think and that break's been good, and going back to it now is good fun. But like I said before, I need to make sure that I'm not an autopilot, that I just toss it off and not care about it. And I do care about it, but it would be easy to go, oh, it's just tritone, off we go, you know, like that. Like, so I'm making an effort to not do it like that. So actually, there's that tune from the ice level on the Kickstarter piece, and on the page, and I've scrapped that. I've not used that now. I've done something new for that now, because I thought it was what didn't fit. Because I felt I didn't know what the level was going to be like at that point. Gav said to me, you know, write a piece for ice, it'd be great, you know. And I thought it'd be Freeze Easy Peaks, and it's not. I'm not just letting anybody down, but it's not like Freeze Easy Peaks, it's different to that. So I've written something different. So I'm really trying hard not to just toss it off. That's a British phrase, I don't know if you all know that one. But yeah, so I'm trying hard not. Yes, so the glasses behind you, yes, you, sir.
Of all the games that you compose music for, which one do you think is your hardest?
Hardest? I think when I did Kingdoms of Amalur, doing the boss pieces was tricky. Only because I made it tricky for myself. Because I really wanted to push the boat out. I wanted to make those wanted them immense. I was trying so hard to capture that John Williams Harry Potter sound. I'm not saying that I did it, I just tried my hardest. And I really worked hard on that. Those boss pieces took me about a week each, and that's long for me. I'm quite a fast writer. I don't know if anyone's heard those pieces, but they're quite epic, and the kind of, you know, the big things, big orchestration. I was trying to get all that kind of flashy, you know, Williams, woodwindy stuff all over the place, all that stuff, you know. So they were harder to do, but it's good. It was good to do it, but I really wanted to make them different. Oh, good for me anyway. So that chap at the back standing up for your. Yes, you.
All right, so kind of similar question to Angela. Of the games that you worked on, which one was your favorite?
I usually say Viva Pinata, because that was the first time I got to use live orchestra, and yes, that person. Just because, like, I'm a bit of a softie at heart, right? And to write that kind of nice, softy, pastoral orchestra music, I always tried to do my Elgar Vaughan Williams impersonation for those two games. And I really poured my heart into it, especially the second one, actually, the one that no one's ever played. But the second one, yeah. Because I wrote some pieces for that really took, like, I think, this was the piece on the first game called, what's it called? Tranquil Hours, piano piece. Yeah, right. I call it like Night 3. Someone else called it Tranquil Hours later. And that's a really kind of slow piano piece. I mean, that was my favorite until I wrote Bedtime Story for Viva Pinata 2. And that's my favorite of that. That's my favorite of my own piece of all time, really. And that was, doing Viva Pinata 2 was sad because I knew I was going to be leaving Rare at that point. I handed Resignation in. And that was a sad time for me. I never thought I'd ever want to leave Rare. It was it was totally heartbreaking. I could cry about it. I do all the time. I love being at Rare so much. It was such a fantastic place to be, but just the magic had gone out of that company. Tim and Chris had left. Microsoft had bought it. It just wasn't the same as it was. It was just not the place I wanted to be at, and I've just felt bad about that. And like that Bedtime Story, I mean, I've told the story before, but that was the last piece that they recorded in the orchestra sessions. And the guy said to me, I was in the control room, so you should go out on the podium and thank the orchestra for playing so beautifully. And it was ironic, it was the last piece. And I got up on the podium and said, you know, thank you very much for, oh my God. You know, I just burst into tears. So I never quite got the thank you out properly. But that piece means a lot to me because it's like my last piece at Rare, last piece of the orchestra session, you know. So, yeah, Viva Pinata. Oh, God, it's really hard. Right at the back there with the glasses person. You, sir. Cacophony, I don't know. Metal, yes. You know, I keep thinking that, I keep hoping that I'll find some kind of dad's rock band in, like, where I live in Agora Hills in LA. I keep thinking that a bunch of old farts like me want to get up and play Black Sabbath, you know, to nobody in a pub, you know, and get paid $5 and get a pint each. I haven't found that band yet. I'm still looking. So if I do find that band, I'll do some more metal, probably. Yeah, at some point. Oh, my God. Mr. Pokemon hat. Is that Pokemon hat at the back? You, yes. That, whatever it is, yes, that thing. Game Grumps, right. So I said it before. John had mailed me a couple of times to say he liked my music over the years. And I must admit, I don't think I really knew who he was. I just thought he was some kind of, you know, people that emailed me. And then I kind of gone, shit, this guy's mega famous, you know. I said, oh, fucking hell, you know, thank you very much, and all that kind of thing. And when I moved to LA, I said to him, I'd like to meet you, Nero, and just to say thanks for saying such nice things about me on your show, because I thought, I was blown away because they're always really complimentary about my stuff, And John said to me, well, why don't you come on the show? It'd be great fun. And I was like, oh, God, I'm not very funny. I don't think it's going to be very good. It'd be shit. And you'll be really resentful that I did it. And you want to tell me that I'm crap. So he said, well, look, come on and meet up. So I went to meet them, and we had a burrito somewhere, and then went to record the show. And I just got super excited, and just went mad for like an hour and swore my head off for the entire hour. I think they were both a bit shell-shocked, going, shit, Grants has gone Dillali, He's like, what's up with him? He's not like that normally. I was completely, oh my God, shit, fuck, bugger, like, oh yeah. But it was super fun to do. And Aaron and John are really great guys. And all the other guys were in the next room. Like Susie was there, and what's Razzo Barry, all them guys. So I met them too. And it was just, really great fun to do. And I never really thought anything of it, really. But I was really honoured that they asked me. I really was, And then, it came out, and it just went in like views. I was like, oh my God, and I told the story about my knackers and all that thing that I'd said, oh, fucking hell, Why did I tell that story? I was just so, think of something funny that I just kind of just blurted it out, my intimate anatomy, of course. But yeah, it was really good fun to do. And, I went to the Christmas party. I went back to saw them, all the guys then, and, Gerard was there, Peaches guy, and so they're super great. And I saw Dan last night briefly, but he was just surrounded by people trying to pull his clothes off, And I went to say hello, and security guard just pushed me away, like, fuck off, what do you think you're doing? You can't talk to Dan. And I was like, just a minute, I know Dan, So I managed to kind of go, hello, Dan, and shake his hand, and that was it. And Ninja Brown, of course. But yes, that was great, really great fun to do, and I was so chuffed that they asked me. But like I said before, I learned now the internet's forever. So that's when you type in Grant Kirkhope into Google, that's always pretty high in the thing, and my son's friends, parents have gone, look, it's Mr. Kirkhope on the internet, and they start watching it, and within 5 minutes I've gone, fuck, shit, bollocks, and it's, oh my God, and that's it. So yes, that was good fun, but there you go. Yes. Oh, it's getting really hard. Mr. Wavy Hand thing, you there with the hat. Yes, you, sir. Yes.
Can you tell us about your experience with
Nuts and bolts? Right, so let me see. Right, so I didn't have a lot of contact with that, right? Because I was doing Viva Pinata too, and that came first in my work schedule. So, and I kind of thought I'd get to Nuts and Bolts later. I didn't think I'd leave the company at that point. I thought I'd still be there, but I chose to resign right close to that time. So my plan was to do Nuts and Bolts in its entirety, do all the music and all the sound effects. Because Banjo-Kazooie is all me, all music, all sound effects, I did the whole thing. So I didn't have the time, so I had to get help. So I asked Robin Beelan to help me out and Dave Clinic on music. I had to give the sound effects away to Jamie Hughes and Martin Penny, other guys at Rare, while I was trying to get through Pinata. So I just didn't get there. And very first idea that for Nuts and Bolts, because when they said we're doing Nuts and Bolts, we're doing Banjo 3, I was like, oh, fucking great, So it was supposed to be, Tim Stamper said, Mr. Boss said, we're going to do Banjo-Kazooie again as a co-op. So you get Banjo-Kazooie and you can play all together around all the levels. We'll retexture it all. Make it look really smart for the Xbox, all that stuff, right? And I was like, So a few of us, I guess senior guys who were on the team from the start, kind of went, we don't really think it's a very good idea, really. And we kind of pointed out that the time it takes to retexture and redo all the levels, you might as well just make some new levels. It's the same time, right? What's the point of doing the old ones? Just make some new ones and do a new game. I went, oh yeah, okay. So that kind of got agreed upon, off they went. And then there's a thing called Havoc, which is the physics engine, which Rare used to always make. Every team had their own engine, which is bizarre. Like every team created their own engine for the game from scratch, which is daft. You should just share an engine for the whole company, but every single team had their own engine. Right, it was the way it was done at Rare in those days. Everything was contained. You had blocks. Your key wouldn't get you anywhere else. It was like very, very keep everybody separate. Not because it's nasty, but just to try and make people have different ideas, right? So I'm losing my track of thought. So it's the first time they bought a physics engine. And the Havoc physics engine had a little demo where you could knock cubes around back in there, and it looked, and that little cubey game was more fun than Banjo Nuts and Bolts was at the start. So we were kind of going, oh. So that's what triggered that kind of let's build things out of blocks. I mean, in a way, like it's a bit like Minecraft. It was a precursor, really. You could make things in Banjo-Kazooie out of blocks way before Minecraft did it. right? So that was the idea, and it turned into the racing game, and it turned into all that stuff. And I was a bit, at that point, I got a bit detached from what was going on. I kind of thought, oh, well, let's see how it goes. So I never, I left Rare in July that year, and the game was out later that year, so I didn't really play it, I don't think, even. I don't think I even played it at all. So I wrote the music, and that was it. And so when it came out, the thing about Nuts and Bolts, right, is, I know everybody hates it, but I'll give you an example. My son, right, was probably 8 at the time, whatever. And like when we moved to America, when his mates came round, all they wanted to play was Nuts and Bolts. That was the game they wanted to play of all the games he had, because they didn't know about they didn't know about the first 2 games, right? They didn't know what about those at all. They just thought it was great fun building vehicles. They could make submarines and fly planes and let their imagination run wild, and they loved it to death. Absolutely loved it to death, right? I think Microsoft dropped the bollock there. They didn't push it hard enough. I think it could have been good, but I think having Banjo-Kazooie in the game was a bad idea. I think that was bad. People expected, they could have put 2 other characters in there and it could have been all right. I think, but they wanted the name in the game to hopefully sell it, which completely backfired. It didn't sell at all. So I think that was a mistake. But as a game mechanic, it's a good idea and it does work. But I was as down about it as you guys were when it first came along. I really was. But I'd gone by then, So yeah, there you go. Oh God, how am I going to do this? Somebody far away. Sir with the blonde hair there. Is that you? No, yes, that's you. No, you with the blonde hair. You got blonde wig. Is it a wig? It's a wig. No, it's not a wig. I don't know what it is. Sorry.
So my question was, like Banjo-Kazooie and Perfect Dark sort of came out at the same time frame. I was wondering if you had to struggle with juggling between the 2, or if you worked on one and went on to the next one.
Yeah, so like Banjo-Tooie, Perfect Dark, and DK64 actually. I had all those games at the same time. That was a hard year and a half or so, because like Graham Norgate, he was doing Perfect Dark, and I was doing Banjo-Tooie, and then I got given DK64 because George Andreas, who was one of the designers on Banjo, underneath Greg Mayles, got his own team to do DK because he was a really great designer. So he wanted me to do the game with him, so I did DK and Banjo-Tooie at the same time. And then Graham Norgate left, and he was doing Jet Force Gemini and Perfect Dark. He went to do Free Radical and do Time Splitters. And then, so those 2 games were left. So Robin got Jet Force Gemini, and I got to do Perfect Dark. So all those games were at the same time. And that was a hard year. I went from Banjo-Tooie to DK to Perfect Dark, and round and round and round and round and round until it was done. So yeah, it was quite hard. But at least Perfect Dark was different, right? It was a different genre. It was like more. That's why I think sometimes people maybe don't like DK64 because the music was a bit similar to Banjo. And I tried to make, in my mind, DK64 was slightly darker in sound than Banjo-Tooie. That's what I felt. I thought the music was darker. But I don't know. But yeah, so it was a bit hard that year, but I got the money. Hey! What can I say? Oh, Mr. Beard there. Beardy. Yes, sorry.
So back in your music days, what kind of guitar equipment did you use?
A few, but as a metal fan, back in my metal days, what guitars did I play? So I had like crappy copies at the start, but my first great buy was a Gibson Flying V, white one. Come on. That was great. And then I got a Gibson Explorer. And then I got, I think I got a Les Paul Standard Gibson. I got all Gibsons at that point. No, I tell a lie. Then I got a Fender hybrid Strat that had 2 humbuckers and a lock-in trem. And then I got a one by, what was it called? A similar Strat with a lock-in trem. Then I dumped that, went back to just fixed bridge. I got a Gibson Les Paul. But right now I've got my guitar that Eddie Van Halen gave me, which is the EVH Music Man guitar, which I keep forever. And I've got a Zakk Wylde Les Paul with lots of things on it. It's great. It's really loud. I have to ask you, so you've been asking for a long time. Favorite track from GoldenEye is the one I did like Duran, or Duran as I say. So that's that one. Yeah, frigate, that's it. Yes. Yeah, that's my Faith No More bass line from We Care A Lot. And that's Faith No More drum beat from We Care A Lot. And the top line's a bit like View to a Kill, Duran. Just stuck them together, made frigate. Oh, no, I tell a lie, actually. The one I do like best is one in the control room goes doogie doogie doo doo doogie doogie. Which one is it? Is it Bunker? Yes, that's right. Dexter Swede knows. Yes, it's a Swedish thing. Bunker. That's my favorite. Yeah, that one. Oh my God, Mr. Hattie Hatster over here. What games do I play now or then? Oh, my kids, right, yeah. So Max, my son, is 13 now, so he's just League of Legends right now, unfortunately. So... So, you know, he's just turned to a teenager, and I don't see him at all now. He sits in his room and stinks and plays League of Legends a lot. He still goes back to Mario Galaxies now and then, and he's played Yooka-Laylee a bit. So he was like he's a big... I mean, he's played a lot of stuff over the years, but I think League of Legends right now with his friends, he's obsessed by it. He just talks about the stats all the bloody time. It's just a pain in the ass. My daughter Holly, she does play a little bit of games. She plays Minecraft a bit. And she's got, like, you know, Simpsons games and things like that on the Wii, I think. But Max likes to play League of Legends, yes, that's what he plays. Mr. You there, sir? Yes, that's right, yes. Am I going to do any voice acting for Yooka-Laylee? I mean, I think terming what I do with voices as acting is probably a bit of a strong term. It just basically kind of goes, I don't know, Jinjo, or something like yeah, you know, or Uminaka, something like that, or Ikombokum. Not yet, but maybe. Yeah, I might do some voices for Yooka-Laylee. I just haven't got that far. They are doing stuff right now for voices. I mean, I could do some, I suppose, but I haven't thought about it. Maybe. Yeah. I'm a good voice actor, of course. Yes, sir.
So you spoke fondly of your experience with the game Grumps, and it sounds like you're on good terms with Gerard. Gerard, on one of Gerard's shows, they're going through Banjo-Kazooie right now, and they keep talking about possibly having you on. Is that something that you'd be considering?
They've told me that. Sorry, apparently the people listening to Banjo-Kazooie right now, and I'd love to go on. He hasn't asked me. Bastard. I'll call him right now. Yeah, I'd love to go on. And the thing is, it's great fun doing that stuff, right? And honestly, the YouTube guys that I met are really, really, really nice people. Like those, Gerard, to get to where he is now, he works so hard. Like he worked for 10 months doing a game a week. That is a lot of work by himself. Like he'd take, you know, I asked him about his workload. It was incredible. I couldn't believe he had the motivation to do it. It was, you know, he's a great guy and he's got staff now and all that. And like, I love things like the Game Grumps because, like, I love people that kind of say, you know what, we're going to make our own brand and we don't give a shit whether you like it or not. I love that thing, right? Like, they've just kind of gone, we're going to make our own thing and we're going to do it on the YouTube or whatever it is. And the Game Grumps are a really, you know, proper force to be dealt with these days. Those people have got, like, Disney and all sorts of nonsense going on that they've done in the past, you know, and they just go their own way. I love people. That's like when Chris Stamper and Tim Stamper set up Rare, that was that. They said, we're going to make a games company, and everyone was going, what, you nuts, what are you going to do? And, you know, now they're multi-millionaires, right? Like, and they just worked hard, and they have a family life, and they just work their balls off for 24 hours a day for years to get to where they are, and I love people like that. And I love people that kind of, and having that success is like, it's really well-deserved. It takes an awful lot of gumption to do that. So the Game Grumps guys, and I know that Andre, the black video games nerd, that I know him, he's a really good guy, and he works really hard, and Gerard works really, really hard. And Dex works hard, don't you? Have you got your Dex? Of course. You know, so, you know, I really admire those people that work really hard. I think this is the last question. Oh, my God. What can I say? All right, you, sir, with the hat. Go on. Yes.
So, when you going back to where you talk about when you make a game or make music, you just look at a picture or the concept art. What about, like, character themes? Like, do you just look at a character, or do you more or less try and get into their personality and then come up with the music?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just like doing movies, really. You're going to know he's a baddie, he's a goodie, he's a mad scientist, you name it. You know, it's the same old stuff, right? You just get that thing in your head that you think it should sound like that. And so I do my best. So, you know, Banjo-Kazooie were wacky characters, therefore. I thought they were opposites, like Kazooie's clever and sarcastic, Banjo's a bit dumb. So I thought I'd write, that's where the tritone thing at the notes, a tritone's the furthest part in a scale, right? C to F sharp's the biggest interval. You know, that's the biggest it gets, you know, so within an octave. So, like, I thought that's why I did the tritone. That's as much as thought as I had about that. So, yes. So, before I go, I want you to do something for me. I'll get my little phone out. I can work technology. I want to take a quick picture, and then I want to have a quick something else. Hang on. Let's see if I can make it work. Everybody, hands, do something. There we go. Middle people do something. To the right, do something. It's like being in a geek. Hang on, just one more thing. No, just a minute. Put my video on, hang on. So I want you all to shout, Uminaka. Right, after 3. Ready? A couple of times for this. I just want to talk slightly. So here's my panel at good old MAGFest. Look at these jolly people, look. Far too many, so I want you all to shout after 3, Uminaka. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was so good. I want to hear it one more time. 1, 2, 3. You made an old man very happy. So, we are doing, there is like an autograph thing later with Austin and Alexander Brandon, and also there's another composers panel later with Austin Wintry and me and Alexander Brandon. So if you want to see us again, we'll talk the same old shite there. All right?